Hello, I'm Patrick. This is my guest, Natalie. So, my name is Patrick Hayes, and today I want to talk about trashy things. Dirty things that come from us but are no longer of us. Decaying things never far from the surface and always moving around you. This is about trash and our personal opportunity to redefine what waste is. From what we eat to what accumulates in Oklahoma's 37 landfills and multiple incinerator sites. I'm grateful for the chance to share concepts and they add to your understanding of what happens when something is thrown away. Framing the conversation with a locally guided mindset is critical to seeing waste as a resource. This is not a speech to blame you, guilt you, coerce you, or beg you for change. My only goal is to ask you what you think is possible if we consider aspects of our waste as a resource. Oklahoma is sixth in the nation for throwing away organic foods, and it is the second most numerous input in our landfills, only behind plastic. 1 in 4 Oklahoma children are experiencing hunger, while COVID 19 brought people to our local food banks who have never needed such aid before. And that came from the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma. How can this catch 22 of food insecurity and food waste be addressed effectively with dignity in Oklahoma? This is what I'd like to discuss today. We ourselves can choose to divert a portion of what was only trash to a place that can be regenerate and serve our earth again. This is done by composting your food. In a cycle as reliable and natural as the 4 seasons, harnessing valuable nutrients through composting is a simple way to increase our local health and our local wealth. We get used to throwing away leftovers, old veggies, spilled food, but each time that we choose to compost, a bit more of that organic matter can make its way into a regenerative waste production process here in Oklahoma. Fortunately, we are not the pioneers of managing food resources more effectively, and we have many examples of this process being worthwhile for the participants and for our local environments. Looking into nature, our food will begin a decomposition process where bacteria, mold, and microorganisms create an aerobic environment and begin processing nutrients to increase its bioavailability. We can manage this process in our backyard or in a massive indoor center, the composting process needing little for mankind to make short work of the ingredients. If we went to the enrichment and restoration of communities in Tulsa, would that be worth the effort? In the south central side of Oklahoma City lies an EPA designated Superfund site closed off for 38 years. This is a 3.5 acre landfill and junkyard operating since 1951 to 1983. This site would change ownership and general use throughout its lifetime before operating as a junkyard, and where toxic levels of polychlorinated biphenyls and a dielectric chemical called RO-Chlor 1254 and RO-Chlor 1242 were dumped without regard. These chemicals exposed to groundwater can seep toxins into animals and humans alike, potentially compromising the offspring of those exposed. And that's from the CDC. After remediation, the site is tested clear for PCBs where a concrete cap is placed and then disposed of 9,800 cubic yards of contaminated material. And that's from the EPA. This story has a potential to play out here in Tulsa, ruining not only land, but the opportunity of using that land more effectively for our future. Our food thrown into the trash in Tulsa is taken to a finished quarry managed by a private company, dumped into the pit, and compacted by machinery where it is sealed to reduce toxic leakage into the groundwater. In the meantime, what you recycle in Tulsa ends up in the same landfill due to a fire in April 2021 at the largest recycling facility in town, still out of operation today. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and others do not have an active food waste compost facility. Yard waste such as branches, leaves, and are accepted at city-owned sites, but food is neither separated or collected for compost and diversion from landfills. If it seems like we don't learn from our mistakes as a society, it is because the solution wasn't profitable. Here are 2 examples of poor management of resources in Oklahoma. So, this previous Superfund site near Oklahoma City should serve as a reminder to Tulsa what negligence and inefficiency will cause our vulnerable system. But there are positive local examples of how this can be managed more effectively in removing resources from the waste stream. Looking at Fayetteville and Rogers County, Arkansas, there is a metropolitan service for food waste recovery and drop-off locations available. For the multitude of reasons, this is a necessary service to be implemented in Tulsa. It is also lucrative for the municipalities of being able to sell the finished compost product while lessening the burden of resources ending up in landfills. Fayetteville and Rogers, Arkansas are in alignment with the EPA's food recovery hierarchy, which defines how mindfully managed food can make a difference in ensuring that all aspects of our society and economy have adequate and available nutrients while diverting resources from landfills. That was from the municipality of Fayetteville. There are inspiring examples of backyard compost setups the most anyone can use in small spaces. Sunny corners of the yard make an excellent place for a compost pile. My interest in this topic came from the countless times I participated in the composting process. Homegrown, self reliant, and satisfying, collecting compost in my backyard is where these thoughts have grown from. It doesn't take much to start composting and growing the benefits, just a desire. This sounds like a dirty and demanding dream, I am aware. I do believe the complexity of the situation is quite high, yet wouldn't unraveling the problem begin with a simple step? Diverting food from our waste stream allows us to manage environmental needs in line with those of a growing Tulsa. Should we try anything to help make tomorrow a better place to wake up in? We need not wait on bureaucracy to make a difference in what we can do ourselves together. Consider composting in your space, or helping tend to a community garden, or by supporting local organizations such as Global Gardens, Full Sun Composting, Iron Gate, Black Wall Street Market Community Pride Garden, Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma, and Mosaic Gardens. I have had personal experience with each of these organizations, and all have a vital purpose in making Tulsa a place with deeper, wider food security. Your contribution is no small matter, but a radical task that benefits not only today, but all generations after. Waste not, want not.